Welcome to Mushila Victor Isaacs World of Books, where stories inspire, knowledge empowers, and hearts awaken. I am currently the author of a few transformative books that aim to leave a lasting impact. Book 1, Seen and the Unseen, Spiritual Journeys and Societal Truth. Book 2, Whispers of Nature, 100 Poems on Climate and Environment. Book 3, The Silent Heroes Beneath the Acacia Tree. Book 4, Service Savannah, Animals in Business. Book 5, The Earth Defenders. Book 6, Breast Cancer, Grace in the Storm. Book 7, Cervical Cancer, Joy After the Storm. Book 8, Mindful Journey, Mastering Mental Health, Productivity, and Personal Growth. Join me on this journey to ignite our spirits, deepen our understanding, and inspire change. Together, let's make a difference, one story at a time. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit notification bell for more inspiring content. Breast Cancer, Grace in the Storm, co-authored by Mushila, Victor Isaacs, and Angei Elizabeth. Chapter 1. Lisa's plane touched down at Jomo Kenyatta International Airport, its wheels skimming the runway with a soft thud. A surge of emotion swept over her, relief, anticipation, and anxiety. It had been nearly 3 years since she last set foot on Kenyan soil, her life consumed by her studies and diplomatic mission in Washington, D.C. But the news of her mother Jane's breast cancer diagnosis had shaken her out of that world, pulling her back home. Standing at the airport, she was no longer the accomplished diplomat. She was simply a daughter desperate to see her mother. Lisa, a graceful lady with radiant light brown skin, dropped hair curls, and warm hazel eyes, rolled her suitcase through the terminal. The thought of her mother's ordeal weighed heavily on her heart. Though she had been reassured that Jane was recovering well, the uncertainty lingered. As she stepped out into the Nairobi summer heat, she hailed an Uber, her fingers trembling slightly as she entered the familiar address of her childhood home off Thika Road, heading towards Muthaiga Road. The drive was an impression. The extensive bougainvillea flowers lining the roads and the chaotic yet comforting rhythm of Nairobi streets stirred a mix of homesickness and unease in Lisa. Memories of her father's trembling voice delivering the devastating news replayed in her mind. Those long tear-filled video calls had been her lifeline, but today was different. Today she was finally home, and her mother had survived the storm. Early detection had made cancer manageable. As the Uber pulled into the driveway, Lisa's heart swelled with a bittersweet ache. The old-fashioned bungalow stood as she remembered it, framed by its white perimeter fence. The scent of freshly watered roses filled the air, mingling with the golden sun. On the front veranda stood Jane, radiant and resilient, her short hair framing a glowing face. Despite the battle she had fought, she exuded strength and warmth, her broad smile lighting up the world around her. Her voice, as sweet and familiar as ever, called out, "Welcome home, my dear Lisa." Lisa flung the car door open and ran up the steps, dropping her suitcase. She enveloped her mother in a tight embrace, burying her face in her shoulder. Jane held her just as firmly, her arms a sanctuary of love and resilience. "Oh, Mom, I have missed you so much," Lisa whispered, her voice cracking. "I've missed you too, my sweet Lisa," Jane replied, her voice trembling with emotion. "You're finally home." The taxi driver, a kind-faced old man, unloaded Lisa's luggage before asking her to scan a QR code for payment and driving off. But Lisa hardly noticed her entire world was now centered on her mother. Inside, the living room was as warm and inviting as she had remembered. The grey fluffy carpet, vibrant African fabric cushions, and the earthy tone radiated comfort. Above the fireplace hung a large family portrait, a timeless reminder of the bond they shared. Jane guided Lisa on the couch, her movement graceful despite the trials she had faced. "Sit down, my darling," Jane said, her voice filled with affection. "You must be exhausted from the journey." Lisa sank into the couch, her eyes scanning the room before resting on her mother. "Mom," she began hesitantly, "you told me bits and pieces over phone, but I need to hear it from you. How did it all begin?" Jane's smile faltered briefly, her gaze distant as she gathered her thoughts. "It was so unexpected," she began, her voice steady yet touched with emotion. "I had been feeling unwell for weeks, weak, tired, just not myself. Your father and I were worried, but when the doctors couldn't find anything, we started thinking it might be something spiritual, maybe even witchcraft." She chuckled softly, shaking her head. "We even called a priest for a cleansing ritual and prayed every morning at church." Lisa reached out and clasped her mother's hand, silently urging her to continue. Before Jane could elaborate, the sound of a car pulling into the driveway interrupted their conversation. Lisa turned to see a tall man step out, his face lighting up with joy as he approached the house. Jane's smile widened as she rose to greet him. Come in," Jane called out, her voice bubbling with excitement. The man stepped inside and enveloped Lisa in a warm hug. She laughed softly, comforted by his familiar presence. After greeting Jane with a kiss on her cheek, he settled next to her on the couch. Moments later, another figure entered the room, a young man whose energy was contagious. He greeted everyone with hugs, his laughter filling the room. "Mom, you've outdone yourself," Lisa teased, her spirit lifting. "This feels like a royal reception." Jane laughed, her eyes twinkling. "I'm just happy we are all here together, Lisa. It's been too long." As the conversation flowed, Jane excused herself to the kitchen. "What would everyone like to drink?" she asked, pausing at the doorway. Lisa thought for a moment. "Mango juice for me, please." The old man smiled. "I'll take herbal tea." The young man grinned. "I'll have a cold Coke." When Jane returned, she carried a tray loaded with drinks. They chatted and laughed, savoring the warmth of reunion. Later, they moved their conversation to the garden. The evening sun cast a golden glow over the flowers, their vibrant hues inspiring awe. Roses, hydrangeas, and bougainvilleas flourished under Jane's care, their beauty mirroring her resilience. Jane paused by a blooming rose bush, her eyes glistening with unshed tears. "Lisa," she said softly, her voice steady but laden with emotion. "You've always been my sunshine, lighting up my darkest days." Lisa clasped her mother's hand. "Mom, no more missed calls or moments apart. We'll face everything together as a family." In the garden's tranquil embrace, surrounded by nature's quiet beauty, their bond felt unbreakable. They were a testament to the enduring power of love, resilience, and unity. A family weathering storm, yet always finding their way back to one another. End of chapter 1.